KentCov kids, I am so glad you are here. I am Pastor Torina, and we are starting something new. Well, you know how the Bible is God's special book and it's full of true stories, and we have so much to learn from the Bible, right? Well, not only that, but each story in the Bible also has so much to teach us. But a lot of the time, we learn a little bit about a story because the next week we learn a completely different one. So, starting today, we are going to explore the same Bible story all month long. I know you're thinking, how could we possibly spend a whole month on one story? I mean, how many new ideas could there be? Well, I cannot wait for you to see how it goes. You will be surprised, I think. And this month, we are going to explore the story of Zacchaeus. So Jesus met a lot of people as he went around teaching and healing. It's likely that Jesus walked over 3,000 miles during his ministry. And one of the people that he met on these walks of teaching and healing was Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a wealthy man. That means he had a lot of money. And people thought he was dishonest because he was a tax collector, because a lot of tax collectors were dishonest. So people back in his time, they just did not like tax collectors. But Zacchaeus, he seemed to really want something greater to enter his life. Enter Jesus. Jesus was passing through Jericho, the place that Zacchaeus lived. But Zacchaeus, he was very short, and he could not see Jesus past the crowd of people. So he ran on ahead and he climbed up a fig-bearing sycamore tree so that he could see Jesus. And as Jesus walked along the path and he got to the spot where Zacchaeus was, he stopped and he looked up into that tree and he said, "Zacchaeus, come down here at once. I must stay at your house today." So Zacchaeus came down right away. He was so happy to welcome Jesus into his home. But remember, the people, they didn't like Zacchaeus, and they began to grumble because they didn't like that Jesus was going to the home of a sinner. Well, Zacchaeus didn't like that he might be making Jesus look bad. So he spoke up to the crowd and he offered to make right the wrongs he had done. And then Jesus told him that he was now accepted into God's family. Can you imagine what the crowd thought of that? I mean, they didn't think Zacchaeus belonged in God's family, but Jesus showed them how wrong they were. God welcomes all people, no matter what, into his family if we follow the way of Jesus and let God change our lives. I wonder how Zacchaeus' life changed after Jesus entered it. Think about that. I want you to talk about that with your families this week. There's so much to consider and think about. What do you think that the story of Zacchaeus will show us next week? Well, something else exciting, because next week we are launching all new Kids Sunday workshops. So come to church in person to explore this story in fun ways, like through games and drama and even cooking. Next week is Art Sunday, so don't miss it. I'll see you then.